The roar of the river was louder than she remembered. Rain from the last storm had swelled the Snake Creek past its usual calm, and as Eliza Rourke gritted her teeth and urged the weary mule team forward, a flash flood wasn't the only thing she feared. Behind her, the prairie stretched in sun-scorched waves. Somewhere far back, too far to turn around, lay the burned remnants of a past life, her father's farm, torched during a border raid. Her mother was gone, her brother pressed into a gang of highwaymen. Eliza had managed to escape with a wagon, a single mule left, and what meager belongings she could gather. But as the river swept over the wheels, she knew she'd misjudged its power. The mule buckled in the current, braying with terror. "No!" she cried, pulling hard on the reins. But the water surged. A wheel caught on a hidden rock, the wagon tipped, and Eliza was thrown into the icy torrent. She fought hard. Her skirts dragged her under, and the cold bit into her bones. She could barely think, only thrash and kick and cling to the piece of driftwood that carried her downstream. Branches scraped her arms. Rocks bashed her hip. Everything turned gray. By the time the current spat her out onto the far bank, Eliza was bleeding, shivering, and barely breathing. The last thing she saw before darkness claimed her was a shadow on horseback, dismounting in haste. Chapter 2. The Cowboy with Ghosts in His Eyes. Beau Maddox wasn't used to finding half-dead women on the riverbanks. He was used to finding rustlers, coyotes, or maybe a whiskey bottle washed down from the logging camps upriver. But when he saw the dark-haired woman crumpled in the mud, he didn't hesitate. "Easy now," he muttered, lifting her into his arms. She was heavier than she looked, muscle and grit beneath the torn dress, but cold as winter. Beau carried her to his horse and wrapped her in his duster. He'd built a small cabin up on the ridge after turning in his outlaw ways. The town of Bitter Creek was 5 miles south, but he didn't trust folks, not with something this fragile. The fire was already blazing by the time he laid her on his cot. Her lips were blue, her hands blistered. He worked in silence, stripping off her soaked clothes, draping a blanket over her, feeding her small spoonfuls of broth as she shivered through the night. It wasn't until dawn broke red over the plains that she opened her eyes. "You ain't an angel," she rasped, her voice dry as dust. "I don't believe in them no more." Beau smiled faintly. "Good. I wouldn't make a decent one anyway." Chapter 3. Ashes and Truth. 3 days passed before Eliza could stand without swaying. She never asked where her mule or wagon had gone. Beau never mentioned it. His cabin was small but sturdy, built with care. 1 chair, 1 bed, a dusty Bible on the shelf that looked like it hadn't been touched in years. He was quiet, always watching but never probing. He didn't ask about the bruises or the scars, just fed her, mended her dress, and gave her the porch seat when she was well enough to sit. "You live here alone?" she asked one evening, voice soft against the hum of crickets. Beau nodded. "Used to ride with a Hollow Creek gang. Did some things I ain't proud of. Now I fix fence posts, break horses, and keep to myself." She studied him. His eyes were gray like river stones, hardened, unreadable. But there was pain there. Not fresh. Old. Like hers. "You saved me," she whispered. "But I'm no use to you. I've got nothing left." "You got your soul," he said simply. "That's more than I had for a while." Chapter 4. Town Whispers and Ghosts. They ventured into Bitter Creek a week later. Eliza wore a borrowed shirt tucked into a skirt stitch with Beau's own rough hands. Folks stared. She felt it. Whispers behind her back, nods toward the scar on Beau's cheek. "Why are they looking like that?" she asked as they walked past the saloon. "I used to be someone worth fearing," Beau replied. "Now I'm someone worth remembering. Folks don't forget easy." A woman named Mabel, older and kind-eyed, ran the general store. She gave Eliza a spool of thread and a bar of soap without charge. "I see how he looks at you," she said in a hush. He never looked at anyone like that. Not even when his fiancée died. Eliza blinked. He was to be married. Years ago, before he turned to outlawing. Poor girl got caught in a shootout. Some say it broke him. That night, back in the cabin, Eliza sat by the fire long after Beau had gone outside to tend the horses. She stared at the flickering light and felt something new unravel in her chest. She wasn't just healing. She was feeling again. Chapter 5, The Rider from Her Past. It came 2 weeks later. Eliza heard the hooves first. She was chopping carrots when the sound thundered up the ridge. Beau stepped outside, already tense, hand near the revolver strapped to his side. A rider pulled up fast, dirty, red-eyed, familiar. "Luke!" Eliza gasped. Her brother dismounted, stumbling forward. "Thank God, you're alive." Beau narrowed his eyes. "Who's this?" "My brother," she said slowly. "Last I saw him, he was riding with a band of raiders." Luke looked rough, gun at his hip, a fresh wound on his arm. "I tried to find you," he said breathlessly. "They made me ride with M. I never wanted to. Eliza, they're coming. They know you're alive, and they want what was in the wagon." "There was nothing in that wagon but grief," Eliza snapped. "There was a deed. Father's old land grant. It's worth money now. Gold under the soil. They think you still have it." Eliza paled. Beau stepped forward. "How many?" "4, maybe 5. They'll come at night." Beau turned to her. "Go inside. Pack what you need." "I'm not running," she said, jaw clenched. "I didn't say run. I said get ready." Chapter 6, Firelight and Gunpowder. The ambush came under a blood moon. Beau had boarded up the windows and loaded every shell he owned. Luke stood guard by the barn, rifle trembling in his hands. Eliza sat in the shadows with a pistol clutched in her lap, hot hammering. When the outlaws came, they came fast. Gunfire lit up the dark like summer lightning. One man dropped before he reached the porch. Another tried to circle through the trees. Eliza caught him with a shot to the leg that sent him screaming. But the leader, cold-eyed, scarred, burst through the door and grabbed Eliza by the throat. "Give me the deed," he roared. "I don't have it," she spat, struggling. Before he could draw his knife, Beau tackled him from behind. They fought like wild animals, crashing into furniture, fist slamming bone. Then a shot rang out. The outlaw dropped, eyes wide. Eliza stood, arm shaking, pistol still smoking. Beau looked at her and nodded once. "Good shot." Luke limped in minutes later, bleeding but alive. "We got the rest. They won't be coming back." Chapter 7, Redemption's Trail. They buried the bodies up on the ridge. Beau didn't say a word during the process. Neither did Eliza. But as dawn broke, the colors painted the sky gold and crimson. Life had been spared. Blood had been shed. And yet something in the air had shifted. Luke decided to head east, to start fresh, leave the violence behind. Before he left, he hugged his sister and whispered, "You deserve peace now." Beau stood at the porch, watching the horizon. Eliza walked up beside him, her hand brushing his. "You still think you ain't no angel?" she asked softly. He chuckled, low and quiet. "Still not."